Mystical Etiquette: 11 Points to Remember When Approaching New People or Species by Inelia Benz for Ascension101.com. Often, when we first encounter or open a new communication channel or skill, we will be able to have first contact with different species. At the December 2015 event, we will be exploring how to establish contact with other Earth beings and ultradimensional beings. And part of establishing contact is what we do afterward. There is a certain etiquette that we need to follow or at least be aware of when we make first contact. By different species, I mean animals, trees, ultradimensional beings, ETs, spirits, but this information is also very relevant when communicating with other people. There are certain energetic factors that will dictate who and how those species or people can communicate with us. By learning the basic protocols of communication, we will not only be able to have a better time reaching and communicating with other human beings, but when it comes to animals, plants, elementals, and ultradimensional species, we will know how to establish a positive and a clear channel. Point number 1. Be aware that just because another species or person can communicate with you using your ultrasensory perception, it does not mean that they are in any way superior to you. Don't give your authority away. Point number 2. When you make first contact, don't ask for help, favors, guidance, or any type of personal benefit. Treat the being or person as though you just met them in the street, a cafe, or a party and are getting to know them. Get to know them. Point number 3. Don't give them a long monologue narrative of your troubles, frustrations, and problems. Would you do that to a total stranger at your local cafe? Well, if you do tend to do that, stop. Point number 4. Be aware of your personal energy field and don't push it into the other person or being. Wait to be invited in or invite them in once and gently and wait for a positive response. Point number 5. Stay within your own positive core energy while communicating. There will be a unique energy field generated between you and the person or being you are communicating with. Allow the light love field to grow, but don't push love, healing, or light onto them. This would be like kissing a stranger intimately. It can be very gross to the person receiving the push of love into their field. Only do this with people you know well and have a strong love connection with. Point number 6. Stay outside of judgment. It's easy for us to judge people and beings as good or bad. When first establishing communication, it's best to stay outside of judgment. This does not mean we don't use discernment. Discernment is the ability to see and understand people, things, or situations clearly and intelligently, whereas judgment is the forming of an opinion, estimate, notion, or conclusion as from circumstances presented to the mind. Point number 7. If at any time you feel afraid, end the communication, process your fear, and then start again. Point number 8. Remember that no one can establish a communication with you unless you agree to it through conscious decision or fear. Point number 9. If you're constantly worrying or thinking what the other person or being is thinking about you or seeing in you, end the communication. This is your ego pushing fear into them, which is both uncomfortable for you and gross to the other person or being. Don't kick yourself over it. Simply become conscious of what you're doing and stop. Point number 10. Be gentle, tread gently, be kind, and be in integrity and truthful both to yourself and to the other being or person. Point number 11. And lastly, remember that all information we receive and perceive whether with our five common senses or ultrasensory perception, is filtered by our own programs, what we think is real, and firewalls. Always double check what you see or perceive. Sometimes this can be done simply by asking, "This is what I understand. Is it correct?" and wait for a yes or no answer.